It'll come on.
This is the second tape of our 3-tape library on the old film that we made of the boys. And I'm Bob Strye, and Mother Joy Strye is sitting right alongside of me. We're going to narrate these. This is Walter Heinrich, who's no longer with us, pushing his baby Bruce up the hill. This is another German friend. We were at a German picnic. And this is Andy Thomasell on the right, pushing up Andy Thomasell Jr. Well, he didn't call him Jr. And myself. This is my friend Andy. Most of the family knows Uncle Andy. This is Andy again, and little Andy, as we called Andy, the small one, little Andy. No longer is he a little. That was Ronnie that just ran over to
That's Pearl, Andy's wife.
That's Andy holding Ronnie, and he's going to attempt to pick up his own little Andy. Watch closely because the baby falls. We had a little tragedy there, hit the baby on the head. And big Andy was more scared than little Andy, I think. This lady's a friend of ours in the back of Joy and Ronnie. And that's little Andy. That's big Andy there. That's Dad Strye's friend of many, many years. This is little Andy and Aunt Pearl. Or I see the little mark on his forehead. That's where he fell on the head, hit a stone or something. This is Ronnie doing his usual garden chores.
The picnic was May the 31st, 1948.
This is Dad Strye coming in. Has his army fatigues on because this is only 2 or 3 years after discharge from the service. Ronnie in his hose. This is our Neff Roadhouse, 5721 Neff, Detroit. It's on the east side of Detroit. Ronnie was always a very inquisitive person. This is our neighbor.
That's me.
It was?
Yeah.
We took a few pictures of our little baby. He liked to take a lot of baths when he was a little guy. Looks like he has a doll in the bathtub with him.
Hi, sweetie. He's so cute.
There's the camera case.
Ronnie would be about 2 there, 2.5, roughly.
And there's our Studebaker, looks like in the background. So the pictures are all mixed up because we just gathered up all the film and the technician just tried to put them together. This is Charlotte and Walter Heinrich. I guess that's Bruce or one of them. They have 2 babies.
Looks are like the little girl. I think maybe that's Jennifer.
Jennifer. That's her one that's older.
There's Jaime again, taking the old buggy out of the garage. Mother and Dad had bought us that stroller for Ronnie. Need a doll.
That's Charlotte Heinrich, her baby. Can't pick up one number on those guys. That's a Detroit dugout. This is 40 years later. Ballpark looks exactly the same as of yesterday. Can't pick up a number.
This is the Strye family at the zoo.
That portion is all. The ball game and this is out.
That's Harry Askew
It's only a shot.
and Doris and myself. This is the Strye family at the zoo, September the 12th, 1948. Phyllis and Bill Lane had come to Detroit to visit from Canada. Our grandchildren should enjoy seeing these polar bears if they hadn't been to zoo lately. That's Joy and Doris.
We got enough of the other same people, all clear pictures.
There's Ronnie and Barbara Strye, old Thumbsucker, Harry Askew, Bill Lane, Doris, that would be Janice, Phyllis, Marge, and Jig.
Uncle Norman.
And there's Grandpa Tony. There's Robert and Larry Askew.
Peacocks. Peahens. Grandpa Tony. Larry, Ronnie, Joy, Doris, Aunt Margie, Aunt Phyllis, Uncle Harry, Bill Lane, Norman,
And Elaine, carrying Elaine.
White Peacock. That's the same people, just from behind. There's Grandpa Tony smoking a cigar now. Larry Askew, Judy, Barbara,
Janice and Ronnie and Elaine. They were put there in age.
These are just highway scenes, and at the moment I don't even know where they're at. We're looking down into a valley someplace.
I have written here the new bridge, Mackinac. September 4th, 1948.
Nothing to do with the bridge.
Is Janice, Bill, and Phyllis Lane and myself. And on the boat, we're going on the boat with the new bridge at Mackinac, September 4th, 1948.
This is the ferry docks, getting onto the ferry. That's a car ferry that used to run between St. Ignace and Mackinac Island. No, Mackinac City. It's still a car ferry.
The last trip that we took on it was in October of 1958 when we drove my dad's body home from Camp Helena when he died.
Escanaba funeral home. This is just a island out there in the Straits. At the moment, I don't even remember the name of the island. That's Bill Lane and Phyllis, my sister.
It's Janice there.
We're just on the ferry going back to the mainland. We're coming into the docks now. We'll be unloading. That's the way the car ferry used to go into the dock.
And then the bridge was made. Ron's second birthday, October the 1st, 1948. This was still on Neff Road.
I don't think the bridge was made for another 10 years. Took many pictures of Ronnie as a baby.
There's my blue eyes.
It looks like there's one candle on it. Maybe two. It's Ronnie's mother and himself. Ronnie's cutting the cake. Typical 2-year-old boy.
Hi, sweetheart. Hey. You're beautiful.
This is the second tape that we're having made at this time. We call this tape number 1. The other tape was number 1A, which we consider first tape. This is the second tape. There's still going to be a third tape after this. Today is Wednesday, April 13, the day after opening ball game at home. Home ball game.
And the day before Ronnie, our 41-year-old son now, will be flying in from Phoenix
This guy right here.
to Metropolitan Airport in Detroit, and we're going to pick him up tomorrow night and bring him up to Carroll, Michigan, where we now live.
That's Ronnie and his dad.
Did you make that horse for him?
Yep. Almost looks like the zoo again.
It is. It's the Strye family at the zoo. Just another film of the same day, but it was not put together. It's Ronnie and myself. And this would have been that same day,
Good looking shirt.
September 12th, 1948.
That's the family there walking behind. That's Judy and Doris and Harry Askew. Phyllis and Bill Lane.
Janice.
Grandpa Tony Holding.
Elaine.
Elaine. Who's in the... Oh, that's little Barbara. Barbara was in the stroller.
Ron's second birthday again.
Pictures are out of sequence because the technician didn't exactly know where everything went. That's the second birthday or the first one?
The second one. It's just another one that same day. Only it's in black and white instead of color.
I mean, he's 2 years old there?
Mm-hmm.
Looks awful young. This is Nathan's little girl.
Shirley.
Shirley.
Christmas 1948.
It's Dyron Nathan, Dyron Alice, Nathan's little girl.
Dyron and Walter Heinrich, Jaime, and Andy were all boyhood school friends of Robert. So were Alice and...
This is Dyron Nathan here with Shirley and Ronnie. This is still on Neff Road in Detroit. This little Shirley trying to take his bicycle away. Looks like a little desk in the back and a wagon. Or a scooter. That's little Shirley again. And Dyron. We called him Di. This is Alice Nathan. Alice Nathan. Alice was a neighbor. Well, Darren and Alice were both neighbors when I was a little boy. This is Robert Strye and Joyce Strye and Ronnie again taking our Christmas picture. I'm presuming that Darren's taking the pictures because he's there with us. I'm presuming that Joy's taking the pictures.
He's a pirate, all right.
These are party hats that we got probably at some Christmas party or Halloween party or some party.
This would be 3 years after Rob had left the service. He was discharged on November 7th, 1945.
Right to the ball game. So this sequence
It
of...
says Al Butke and Aggie on here, but
And who?
Aggie.
I remember Al Butke being there. I'm trying to remember if Novak was there. Ed Novak, when we worked at
It has question mark on here,
Victory.
1947.
Victory Pattern. '47. Can't pick up a number. I should have looked up the roster. 1947. Probably Billy Rogel and the shortstop, Johnny Gehringer. Well, this is after the war. single digit. That's going to be Greenberg. Years ago. Al Bucky.
Al Bucky, Aggie,
That's his
and
wife. Angela, Eddie Novak's sister.
and myself.
Ronnie's doing the washing now. Ronnie was always a big help around the house. If he wasn't cutting the grass, he was doing the washing.
There's his wicker rocking chair, which he just loved. That was probably his first antique, or our first antique for him. 1947 this is. And this is at the cottage in Canada again. And that's Bill Morgan's boat.
One of the neighbors up at Rondo Park, Canada.
This is the summer of 1949.
Lake Erie in the background.
One of those speedboats were my dad's, but I don't remember which one. He later sold it because he thought it was too dangerous for us girls.
When I took these pictures, I sure don't remember them. Probably the only time I was ever on a sailboat.
This would be in the O at the cottage. It was an inland bay. We used to swim there sometime because it was much warmer there than right on the lake.
There was a bay off of the Lake Erie.
This would have been the dock at the O. My dad and I used to dive off of there and swim out to the middle of it. They used to have a buoy out in the middle. This is back at the cottage, the front of the cottage now on the lake. That's Florence Vogel, Russ Vogel's wife, my aunt. There's Ronnie. And let's see, look like little Andrew, and I think that's Pearl and I out in the boat. No, Aunt Florence and I out in the boat. We weren't going anyplace. This would have been the summer of 49. There's Frank Knopf's Crystal and Uncle Russ. Uncle Russ had to keep protected from the sun a lot of the times. Who's that? That's Pearl, it looks like, behind me there. Nope, no, it's I can't make it out who it is, little child, one of the children. There's Florence and Russ Vogel. They now live in California. That's my mother's youngest brother and his wife. This would be in 1949 at Mount Olivet Cemetery. That's Doris Askew, Rob's older sister. That's the Strye family plot. And that's our new Chevy.
Don't look like a Chevy.
There's Ronnie and myself.
What year is this?
1949.
This is a schooner that's parked on Belle Isle. It's no longer plying the lakes. It's just as a monument. There's a charge to go on board, and they have different things to see. That's 40 years ago, and it's still there on the island. It's a museum, Great Lakes Museum.
This was Easter 1949.
This was,
On Belle Isle.
I think, the first year that was brought in. Isn't even all decorated and docked.
It's called the Wing.
Looks like we're
On Belle Isle.
zoo, or Belle Isle Zoo. Couple goats. These are little baby goats. This is a ostrich, or
There he is. Hi, Ronnie. This is Easter 1949.
called a children's zoo. Mostly all baby animals.
That's my Uncle Matt Gunter and Ronnie. He was my dad's younger brother. There were 2 boys and then twin girls, Marie and Margaret.
Uncle Matt's riding a bike. 2 on a bicycle.
He was always clowning around. Whee!
That's his ironing board. He was always doing domestic chores around the house. made the little scooter for him, little dog on wheels. Studebaker. These pictures must be 48.
This is Christmas 1949.
Yeah, I think I traded the 48 Studebaker in on the Oldsmobile.
I guess this was the year Ronnie got the fire engine, it looks like. Or a car and fire engine. My goodness, look at this sled. He certainly was too small for that. There's the blue eyes again.
The rope was hooked up to a bell. Little hook and ladder fire engine that he got. There's the ladders. One for each side of the truck.
I guess he was pretty spoiled too when you look at all those toys. A wagon, truck, a sled. And this would be at my mother's house on Outer Drive. She lived for a short period of time on 9990 East Outer Drive, and Loie rented from her downstairs.
She lived at this house for a short time. And she moved. Well, this is left road.
The lamp that I recognized behind was my mother's, so I thought it was my mother's house, but it was on our house at Neff Road. She must have given me that lamp. This is at the cottage again. And that's Doris and myself and Pearl, my good friend. And that is little Andrew, little Andrew in the red hat. And the little girl must be Judy. I'm just not sure. I couldn't see her good. There's our Ronnie. That's Judy. That's Doris's girl, Judy. Judy Askew Weiss.
That was Larry on the right-hand side there, sweeping the sand.
There's Larry going out to the boat.
This is the boat that was in previous pictures in the garage.
This July the 16th, 1950. 16th and the 19th of July in 1950. It's little Andrew and Judy and Larry. Ask you.
Larry has a couple boats of his own today, and one is a sailboat. He was always interested in boats from the time he was a little boy.
How old is Larry now?
Well, he's going to be 50 this year. He'll be 50 around Christmas time.
There's Pearl. She passed away May the 21st, 1987. We had been friends since my 17th birthday, and I was 64 when she died. And there's Robert and Andy Thomasell, and they had been friends since the 5th grade. They're 5 years old in the kindergarten, in the 1st grade. Well, kindergarten before 1st grade. They were 5 years old when they became friends, and he passed away March the 6th, 1986. It's Ron's 4th birthday party, October the 1st, 1950. That looks like Elaine right there. And that would be
These look like neighborhood kids.
yeah. This is that's the little vendor boy, I think. That's baby Crystal there in the corner. My sister Crystal's girl. That's Paul, my sister Lois's boy. This would be Mark, my sister Lois's second son, Campbell, Mark Campbell. And that's my sister Lois. That's Crystal. And that would be my girlfriend Gloria Delaire's little girl. Delaire, DeMars, Fogleton now. There's Ronnie. There's Larry Askew. It's Ron's friend David. It's a neighbor. There's myself. Turn around so we can see who it is. There's Robert E. Lee. There I am again. There's my sister Lois. There's my girlfriend Gloria. We went through high school and grade school together. And there's Doris Askew, my sister-in-law, Rob's older sister. There's Marge, Strye, Jiggy's wife. Marge Noak Strye. This is Christmas, 1950.
It's Ronnie's Howdy Doody toy.
This would be on Nephro Jet. Ron would have been 4 years old. This Christmas. Baby Crystal and Ron and Mark and Paul. I wonder where they are.
That's Crystal, Paul, and Mar, and Ronnie, and then the little one was Mark. We're at the stables over at the cottage.
Baby Crystal's birthday is June the 18th, 1943. And Paul's birthday is November the 21st, 1946. And Mark is...
That's Ronnie on his first horseback ride. That's little Mark. There's Ronnie. And there's Paul. back to Crystal.
That's Glenn Campbell, and look like Frank. This is going back to the cottage.
That was the cottage. It looks like Ronnie. I think this is in our own backyard. It's Ronnie and his little friend.
David Zender.
This is on Neff Road, a street on the east side of Detroit, far east.
This would have been about 1951.
July 51. Isn't it the same fall? The past summer?
This is
It's like his birthday.
this is Ron's 5th birthday, 1951. He's a cowboy even there. Ron now lives in Camp Verde, Arizona. Ron with his Howdy Doody puppet. But I didn't know this was being taken. This would be our bedroom on Neff Road. This is up to Camp Helena, my dad's hunting camp, November 19th, 1951. There's the Weather Winky jackets again.
Ronnie grew up to be a real good hunter.
There's my dad on his tractor, plowing out the driveway.
You can hear the tractor in the background.
Oh. My dad and mother used to spend a lot of time up at Camp Helena, which was in northern Michigan. My dad retired at 42, and they'd come and stay there, and then they'd go to their house in Detroit. And then they later on moved. When my sister Lois went out to Arizona, they bought a house out in Arizona, so they'd spend the winters, part of the winters there, and the hunting season here, and the other time it would be in their house in Detroit till my dad died. It's Ronnie and his grandpa. Ronnie was 12 years old when my dad died. I was about 35. Look at all the snow.
Best car I ever had. It's about a 51 Oldsmobile.
This is Christmas in 1951.
Still on Neff Road.
Ronnie's hair was quite light when he was younger, but it gradually got darker and darker. The other two boys were real blonde, like their dad when they were younger. He's quite tall there. I think that must have been the beginning of his train set that year.
It's a wind-up.
That was Ron's hand plate up there.
Yeah, he's in school now. Started school that year.
That a boy. That bookcase there Robert made. There's Ronnie, and this is probably in Rochester, Minnesota, with Fortis and Bondi's second little girl. I forget her name. Mary Lou's sister, anyway. These were Army friends of ours. Fortis and Bondi Anderson. They live in Rochester, Minnesota.
That's Mary Lou in the back there.
At one time, they lived in Wayne, Michigan. This is in August of 1952. There's Mary Lou. She was born while we were in the service, and Bondi and Fortis and Mary Lou and Rob and I,
That's Fortis.
we all were together in the Air Corps.
We call them 40. Like a Ford motor car company. We're at a picnic. The ducks are all around us.
Yep.
It's chasing ducks. What's a train? Miniature train looks like.
This is August 1952. There's Ronnie. And we're with Joyce and Ray Nelson, another couple that were with us in the service. Ray has since passed away also. Passed away in 78, I believe it is. There's Ray Nelson. There's Joyce. Joyce and Bondi and Forty and Rob and I still keep in touch with one another by letter.
Figure it out.
This is at Ray and Joyce's house in Fort Dodge, Iowa. This is a little boy that they had adopted. It's a little boy that was killed just recently in an automobile accident. I bet Joyce would love to see these pictures.
I must have still had hair on my head. I was teasing him about his hair.
This would be little Janice Lane. There's Bill Lane, August 1952.
Up on North Bay. That's North Bay, Ontario, I think. '52, that looks like my car there. Looks like my '48 Studebaker. That's my sister Phyllis. This is Paul Bunyan and the Blue Ox.
Iron Mountain, Michigan, in 1952.
That was my sister Phyllis. These pictures are all, wow, that's my '48 Studebaker again. Iron Mountain. Well, after we go to Iron Mountain. That looks like logs out in the water where they're processed at the mill. This is at the, that was at the sand dunes over on Lake Michigan. This is, looks like it's around Escanaba, Camp Helena. Grandpa's camp up in northern Michigan. Everything you see that says Gunter's, he had one on each side of the driveway over the ditch. Everything you see there, Grandpa had to make by hand. went deer hunting up there for about 30 years. This has to be 48. I think what happened here, there's Grandpa's famous lawnmowers. He bought some sheep and then had a fence in the property around the house so that the sheep wouldn't run away, because he figured the sheep would cut the grass for him. All it did was make piles of dung around the house. And every place you went, you had to watch you didn't step in it.
This is Mary Lou and Ronnie.
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou Anderson, 40, and Bondi's little girl.
I mean, she's only 3. Well, yeah, I guess she's. They must have visited us in.
Yeah, this is on Neff Road.
Yeah, but see, we're back. What in the
Probably
late 40s.
1947, it looks like.
Well, he's a year old.
Older than that, maybe 48. I don't know, man.
He's got these pictures all.
If this is a picture where your finger is cut up, it must be 848.
'49.
These are our old Army buddies again.
See, what is he, 2 years old there?
It's Fortis Anderson.
That's Forrest's old
Now, this
car.
is where your hand is bandaged, see? This is Larry Askew and his racer. So what year was that? 1948? June of 48, probably. And this is Larry Askew with the racer that he made. And maybe 1952. That was Sid Schuchard, it looked like.
That
Sid
was
Schuchard
Doris.
family.
It's Doris, or
With whom?
maybe the neighbor.
Oh.
This is
There's the Oldsmobile. Oh, that would be the Hudson? Huh. Hudson? Is that our first car?
gotta back up.
That's an Oldsmobile. That's in front of Doris's house. That's Doris and Larry. And that looks like Sid Schuchard's little boy there.
That's Ronnie in the back.
They could have been visiting us when we took them over there. This is at the cottage. Let's see, who is that now? That looks like Loie and
That's Glenn.
Paul and Glenn. There's my mother in the water with baby Crystal. And see, there's Mark and Glenn and Loie and Paul. And me and Ron. And looks like Pearl or Aunt
Florence.
Jeannie.
Florence.
There's Crystal and Frank. There's my mother with her famous floating.
That's Glenn going underneath her.
No, that's Sid Schuchard. There's Ronnie. This is Christmas of 1952.
You had Suchard at the cottage. You had Suchard at Doris's house.
I think they came to visit us and we took them around.
But no picture of Sid.
that was sit out in the water.
Not horsing with your mother. Ronnie must be 6 years old here. That's the start of his electric train.
Those are still the beautiful trees my dad used to bring back from up north for all of his family. This is still on there. Ronnie was going to Finney School then, which was quite close to the house, maybe about 5 blocks away. There's Ronnie and his dad and his puppet, Texaco man, I think it was, or Army man, Texaco man.
Dummies.
Looks like.
Puppets the one you put your hand.
This would be Paul and Ron
String.
and Phyllis and Robert.
It's a Boris Minor. That's Grandpa Tony.
Kathy, 1953. Kathy and Janice. Michael and Bill. (1953).
The oldest one's Kathy?
I think the oldest one's Janice.
That's
Janice,
right.
Kathy.
The tall one was Janice. That's Janice, right? That's Kathy running away. That's Phyllis.
That's my mother. Crystal Vogel Gunter. This would be in 1953. That's baby Crystal. That's Jeffrey Knopfs. Jeffrey and Crystal Knopfs. That's Paul. That's Mark. That's Mark, isn't it? That's Crystal,
Jeffy.
Janice, Jeffy, and Mark. No, that's Paul. I'm trying to make out Paul to Mark, but that's Paul. That's Janice Vogel.
That was Mark.
That's me. Yeah, that's must be Mark. It looks more like Mark. There's Paul. It's 1953. I wonder if it could be around Easter. Now this would be Kathy with my sister Crystal.
That's Grandma's house.
Bye-bye.
I wasn't taking no nap.
No, that's our bedroom.
That's our bed.
That's on Severn Road, 1927 Road.
Ghost Point. Pa Frankie, Phyllis, and Ma Frankie. Paul Frankie,
This would be Thanksgiving,
Crystal.
1953.
Helen Frankie,
Pearl,
and Pearl.
Marge, Strye.
Strye, Roger.
It's Barbara, myself, and who's the little baby? Let's see. That would probably be late.
That's Ma Frankie legs. Grandpa Tony, Helen Frankie,
Grandma Frankie.
Thanksgiving turkey. Norman Strye, Roger, Andy, Margie, Pa Frankie, gonna fill up with cigars.
That's Renee with Pearl. It's Pearl's little girl.
There's Andy. Phyllis. Grandpa. Renee. Pearl. Grandpa Tony's gone, Helen Frankie's gone, Paul Frankie's gone.
Jig's gone. Looks like the same pajamas.
This is 53. It goes with the machine gun. We're still 53. Christmas. I think that picture was Pa and Ma was for Thanksgiving. Picture before that, probably the deer camp. He did a pretty good job of putting them together. Should have been done for him.
This would have been our second home in 1920 Severn Road in Grosse Pointe Woods. Ronnie was going to Our Lady Queen of Peace church, school then.
Would have been a heck of a job putting them all together without having any kind of numbers on them. It's our little clown.
This is the Hialeah racetrack in February 1954. Al Bailoff, Robert, Marge, and myself.
Marge Bailoff.
Rob's partner, Al Bailoff, and this was his second wife.
This is how they get the horses ready to go in the starting gate. This is down Miami, Florida. That's Al Bailoff and Marge Bailoff.
Show what you lost or what you won.
No, that was my winnings. It's the only time I ever won on a racetrack, I think.
I wonder if those are hibiscus. I don't remember what they are now, but I think they were hibiscus, but I don't know.
That looks like a fishing boat that Al and I went on. That's me with my captain's cap on. That's the only time I went deep sea fishing. There's pelicans. They're always around the shore of the docks there because they like to pick up the dead fish and live fish and everything else you throw at them. Ugly bird. Marge and Joy picking oranges. Pick 1, 5 drop.
This would have been our first day in Florida, February 6, 1954.
That's Al Bailoff and Marge Bailoff. Myself. This almost looks like we're going into Florida though, instead of or going away from it. The state line's a very long distance from Miami.
This is the Ponce de Leon.
Monument. That's the statue of the Ponce was his girlfriend, modern girlfriend.
This is a drive along the beach with the beautiful hotels and motels. Just think that was 34 years ago. It's changed quite a bit since then. Is that Jade East?
I couldn't see it.
I think it is. It looks like that picture, the still pictures we have.
It's a condominium that the Billtrite Tool Machine Company owned. Not the whole thing, you just own an apartment. That was it there, about the 5th floor. That's a different one. That's Lombardi. That must be next door. I don't even know why I was taking pictures of Lombardi. Is there
Flags and a boat?
Fishing flags.
I know it is Cypress Gardens, that's what it is.
It's a ramp that they go up.
February 19th, 1954. In Cypress Gardens, in the tropical forest.
Cypress Gardens are in Florida. Beautiful. All flowers and grass, and they have a show out there with different sea sports. These are the cypress trees growing there.
Those are azalea bushes. And they have some bougainvillea in through there.
Just panning the garden to show how pretty it is. This is at Silver Springs, I think. Silver Springs, Florida. We went through that's the name of the city, Silver Springs, and this is a tropical forest that you take a boat ride through. It's got alligators and things of that nature, monkeys. This looks like Cuba.
Yeah, it's part Cuba and part the motel and hotel.
That was
I think that was the double exposure there.
that was a Morro Castle out there. Must be driving in a car, going too fast. Havana Harbor. Wow.
It's February 1954, Havana, Cuba. It's Marge Bailiff and myself on the beach.
Trying to figure out if this is still in Havana or back in,
No, it's in Havana yet.
or we're back in Miami. And looks like Gal Bailiff up there. These are called sand traps. I don't remember this in Cuba.
This is double exposure
What's double? That's at the airport.
in Cuba in 1954.
Yep. I mean, it's still in Cuba. I wonder how you can take two pictures.
Isn't that the camera that you turn it over and put it on the other side? And film half over, then you turn it over and do the other half?
It must be. Al Bailiff. These are pictures out the window of the airplane. What year is this?
1954.
Welcome to Cuba. Guy walks like me. That's in Cuba. That's the beggars around us. That's large. Get dizzy looking at that. That's the Atlantic Ocean.
That's Marge and I out in the water.
Beautiful Atlantic. We didn't have any pictures of you swimming in the Pacific Ocean, did we?
I don't think so.
Didn't even have the camera.
You call that swimming?
They outweighed us. Al Bailiff is gone also. Someone else supposed to be taking these pictures because we're both in the water. What kind of stroke is that? Breaststroke?
That's what he's trying to do, I think.
Huh?
I think that's what he's trying to do. It's still February 1954 in Florida. This would be back at Miami in the motel swimming pool.
Some kind of memorial.
Swanee River.
Robert Louis Stevenson Memorial.
Uh,
Who wrote the Swanee River?
Stephen Foster.
Stephen Foster.
It's Ronnie on his bike in front of our Severn Road home in Grosse Pointe Woods, October 31st, 1954.
Which one's ours? Oh, yes, that's it. 54? 46.
This would be just before Randy was born. That's Tommy Matthews.
See, this is 54?
Yes,
I still got those ones in there.
Tommy Matthews and Bobby. These are Ronnie's neighbor friends.
Ronnie in the middle.
This was all a new subdivision when we bought our house. In fact, we were just, I think, the second or third house built there. That's Randy, our new baby that was born November the 26th, 1954. Our second son, Ronald, mother. Isn't he beautiful? He was 6 pounds. I know that he was 8 pounds 4 ounces when he was born. That's the back of my mother.
That's the end of the movie.
She came and took over. I had the polio with Randy. When I was carrying Randy, when I was 6 months pregnant with Randy. Peekaboo, come on, Ron. He was so proud of his baby brother. He just loved him. This December 1st, 1954. First day home from the hospital. Here's a little tank.
It's a good picture of Grandma.
Had to be sure he was being held properly. This is Randy's baptism pictures. No, that would be later on. This would still be the first day home. Grandma didn't want the bright lights on him. There's my dad. There's Ronnie. Ronnie was 8 years old there.
He was already 8.
He was 8 in October, and Randy was born in November. Up to bed. This is my sister Crystal. This is Randy's baptism pictures. Crystal was his godmother, and Jig Norman Strye was his godfather. December the 19th, 1954. Isn't he beautiful?
You can still see a resemblance.
That's would be Marge Strye, Jig's wife, myself. That's Frank Knopf's, Crystal's husband. Isn't that beautiful? He's so alert, being so tiny.
That was the first year we got that crib, or whatever that is.
And that old friend of yours gave that to you when we were
What is that?
expecting Randy.
Cradle.
It was a bentwood cradle that both Randy and Rod were rocked in. That's a good picture of Jiggy.
Good picture of Randy.
Beautiful. That's Crystal again with Randy. My mother and Dad came down from up north to be there when I got out of the hospital. And she was praying to St. Teresa all the time that I would walk out of the hospital, that I wouldn't have any paralysis. And she pulled open the front drapes, and there a rose that she had given me at Easter time. I mean, it must have been in June, not Easter, when we first bought our house. That was it. Was in full bloom in that bay window there, a yellow tea rose. And it was in bloom December the 9th, so she knew her prayers had been answered. And I did walk in the house.
Who are those children?
This is Christmas 1954. Francis and Hallie and David and Darlene Zender. That's Randy, our neighbors from Neff Road, our neighbors from Neff Road. It's David, Ron's boyfriend, and Ronnie.
What's the little girl's name?
Darlene. And
That's Mr. Zender.
that's Francis Zender.
What was her name?
Hallie.
He was a barber, wasn't he?
I don't remember. Don't those two little children look alike? Ronnie had made this in school.
That must be Christmas of 54.
Yes. Oh, it's cool.
Davy Crockett hat. Davy Crockett coonskin hat. Shoulder pads so he could be a football player. So we're trained. Is that Randy's first Christmas?
Randy's first Christmas. Christmas 1954.
content baby.
Oh, yeah, he was. He looks like he's a man of all hats at Christmas. Looking back now, I think he had a little bit too much. Give the kids the world. That's what you want for them. There he is. Hi, sweetheart. Put your head up. Come on. Come on. He'd only have been about a month old there.
And the baptism pictures of our sequence.
Yoo-hoo. December the 19th was his baptism.
December?
Uh-huh.
And this is 6 days later.
Dad in a robe. Wow. There's a proud father. Imagine 2 sons now. What a nice Christmas present.
Trying to think what that is on a tripod.
Golf cart, maybe? Is that a golf cart? Looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
See the wheels?
That's the year Fred gave me one, I gave him one. Nothing, no good. Oh, yeah, I go to teach them too, that's good.